May 17, 1863. It's the day when 13 Union officers and a civilian recruiter arrived in historic New Bern.
They're tasked to form the nation's first official military unit made up completely of slaves.
They would end up laying the foundation for other slaves to literally fight for their freedom. Nicole Mari brings us the story.
It was called the African Brigade.
This unit, the 1st North Carolina Colored Volunteers, stepped forward and proved to the world, just as the Massachusetts 54th and the 166 other African-American regiments who fought in the Civil War.
The North Carolina Volunteers were the country's first official major military unit, largely made up of escaped slaves. It was formed in historic New Bern.
There were doubts there that slaves could be men, that they could fight. They had those characteristics of valor and putting others before self.
Considered a daunting and social experiment, it would settle once and for all the unanswered question of the time. Could a slave be trained to intelligently and heroically fight as well as his white counterparts? The answer, a resounding yes. Delivered during the Civil War by the volunteers who would later be known as the 35th United States Colored Troops.
Many times, instead of training as soldiers, we were used as slaves to build fortification, forts, to do casual duty, to dig the trains, ditches, gather firewood, bury the dead. But when given the chance, we proved over and over again that we would fight as well or better than other units.
More than 180,000 African Americans fought in the Civil War for the Union Army. The city of New Bern served as a recruiting headquarters, enlisting more than 5,000 soldiers in the United States Colored Troops. It was here at this site in downtown New Bern where the soldiers rallied just 2 months after their unit was formed in 1863.
Slowly, we changed the attitudes and the perceptions of many Americans who felt that African Americans were not men and were less than human, that they could not fight.
The unit was commanded by Colonel James Beecher, the brother of famed abolitionist and author Harriet Beecher Stowe.
James Beecher was appointed because he and his family were staunch abolitionists.
Once commander, Beecher appointed Major John V. DeGrasse, an internationally trained black medical officer.
Major DeGrasse was the first African American to be admitted to a state medical society in 1854. Dr. John V. Curry DeGrasse. He was one of my heroes. In fact, I wear his uniform.
Today, wearing DeGrasse's uniform, Bernard George reenacts what life was like for the major and other members of the North Carolina Volunteers. For him, it's personal.
I've been reenacting for about 12 to 14 years. My grandfather told me when I was a young lad that his grandfather fought in the Civil War. I didn't believe him because that wasn't in the history books.
After doing research of his own, George would later find out his grandfather was telling him the truth. Now he's spreading that truth to any and everyone who wants to hear about it.
Those stories need to be told, and those are stories of our ancestors, our great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers who bore the sting of slavery, the humiliation of slavery, the trial of slavery, and brought us through as a people to a new day.
Reporting in New Bern, I'm Nicole Mari.